Well, welcome to tonight's episode of Talk and Roll with Hawk and the Captain. Hawk is back after a little bit of a leave. But he is
I got a
back.
whole beard. I got a
Got a
whole
whole
beard
beard
now.
going
I'm
on.
pretty sure I didn't even have this beard the last show I did.
No, I think you just had the Lemmy going on there. Today's guest out of San Pedro, California. At least that's what it says on your Facebook bio. We're going by that. Cosmic Kitten, a post punk, post grunge band. So tell us about yourselves.
Hi, we're
Uh-huh.
Cosmic Kit. Our friends call us other names, like the Sucky Band.
What?
I don't know if we can curse on the show.
Yo,
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
whatever the fuck you want to say, have at it. Have at it.
Hey, what fucking language?
They call us cosmic shit sometimes.
Our friends call us Cosmic Shit.
I was listening to you, and
It's all,
you guys.
it's all for the love
my,
of the game.
Yeah, you caught my attention because you sounded like old school, whole like Babes in Toyland and like that, and it kind of like I had to backtrack because that's how I know when something catches my because you're like listening on your phone. I'm horrible at this, and then I'm like, oh wait a minute, hold on, what was that? I go, oh, okay, cool, and that's how I found you guys and the wonders of the Instagram and fun shit like that you can get attention across country. So
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. The internet is definitely kind of changing the landscape of music and stuff. Like people are having success on the internet and then having their first shows and selling out, huge venues because the internet is just this grotesque kind of like sea beast with tendrils stretching out across the earth and H.R. Lovecrafting washing our brains.
Not unlike a glioblastoma
Multiform indeed.
implying that the internet is cancer.
It's HP Lovecraft. Yeah, it's a Lovecraftian monster out there that's just spreading its limbs and getting into everybody's. I'm horrible. I every time I'm finding bands constantly. I'm like, fuck, where's this band come from? 12 years, holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like the internet. You'll find these bands that have been around forever, and they're awesome, and just never had the right opportunities, or had a good chance at it, and you're like, man, what the hell? Like this band's just sitting here, and I love them, but thanks to the internet, you can still find them, and some bands are broken up, and
Yeah.
they're still there, and you're like, you find them later, you're like, wow, so.
I've done that more than once or twice. I was like, oh, I really like this band, and they broke up. So so
Yeah.
how did Comic Kitten Cosmic Kitten come to fruition?
You're saying how do we come to be?
Yeah.
That's Karen's story.
Oh, okay. Well, it started as a solo project. In the beginning, it was just kind of me on acoustic guitar. And I was desperately trying to find band members, but didn't have much luck for a couple years until I met Zach, and then I showed him my original music, and he dug it right away. He helped record a demo, like CD, for us, and he wrote all the drum parts on my songs. He wrote all the bass parts on them, and then it was only kind of like a two-piece for a while, and we would occasionally have a bass player. But now, like years later, we have a permanent bass player. But that's a short story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's we've seen so many of these bands. I got to ask, did you come out of the pandemic? Was this a we've got a lot of that. The bands that formed during the pandemic and then slowly became, cohesive.
Oh yeah, and I
cohesive
mean,
band.
like, and even more so, a lot of bands breaking up during the pandemic too. Like, pandemic was very unkind to artists.
Artists, venues, and all that. Really.
Yeah, the whole thing.
It was pretty disheartening to see a lot of like our, local bands that we kind of like played with for a few years before the pandemic, just kind of break up. And a lot of them we were kind of inspired by. So they had been around longer. So once they kind of broke up, then it was like, oh man, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we still here?
Yeah. What's wrong with us?
I could definitely see that being disheartening, but then you're also like, I made it. I passed all that. I get that behind me. We're moving
Yeah,
forward.
That's true.
it's like we're still here. Where's our consolation prize?
Survival.
I think this is what I've noticed on a lot of bands that did break up during the pandemic. It was, I think it was going to be inevitable anyways. I think that they just used the pandemic as an excuse to be like, yeah, this ain't working out. Dude, you guys haven't talked in like 5 years. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, you gotta some people were like really screwed by it,
Mhm.
And a lot of these guys, especially working in offices, like just completely lost their jobs entirely, and unless you're touring and making a living with the music itself, like you got to
Yeah.
have that foundation, and that probably got ruined for at least a few guys. But yeah, a lot of the people we've spoken to had like solo pandemic projects to keep themselves busy during lockdown, which is like something I didn't experience like a lockdown. I kept working. I was lucky. So
I got forced to close down. I was a comic book store owner. For some reason, comic books are not essential, I guess. I don't know. But we've seen what was really cool though is that we saw I've talked to a couple people that they were able to there we go.
We're back
We're back.
on our
All right.
Looney Tunes back in action.
Yeah. Cool. I had to trim a little bit out of this and just trim out me and Hawk talking about puppies, dogs, and stuff.
Hey, no, leave it in. That sounds nice.
Yeah. Oh, I always do that because dogs, cat. I'm surprised my cat's usually lurking up here now. I moved a bunch of my albums around, so I legit have to put a shipper box. That looks like mine, kind of. I don't know where mine's at. Maze. She's right here. Oh no, if you look, there's Lucy right there. She's hiding. And Maze is, I have no idea where Maze is. My dogs are upstairs because they will not let me record. So Hawk's got it down pat, man. He can hit that that mute button in a heartbeat when the dogs start doing it.
dude, bro, I have to like keep it. They were just about to go nuts, so I was on mute and then hold space to unmute when I have something dumb and unimportant to say.
Mine will get right here. I'm recording it at my desk. It'll get right underneath the table and put its head like right between my legs. Like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, okay, get back, get down. I gotta keep pushing
I
it down.
need your attention. It's very important.
Yes,
Oh
exactly.
yeah, they'll
Like,
both
what do you need? He goes,
jump on me.
"I love you."
That'll happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he's got 2 good-sized dogs. I have 2 little dogs and 1 medium-sized dogs.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, 2 corgis and a mutt. So,
Oh, corgis.
I love my
I
corgis.
bet it's nice having them to judge you all the time.
No, my corgi's all chill. But one's chill, one is excited every moment of every day.
That's nice. I follow this page on Facebook called Disapproving Corgis.
Oh,
And it's just a bunch of pictures of corgis with attitudes, like looking at the camera. All.
yeah, see, I
Funny.
don't have that problem. Mine are all really good.
That's nice. Yeah.
So, all right. Where were we at? Oh,
COVID music.
yes. Coming out of COVID and getting your music together and all that funness. So you started out as a solo, became a 2-piece. Now you're a 3-piece. How's that working out?
It was pretty good. We we recently just started auditioning for like to add a rhythm guitar player, like a second guitar player. And we've been kind of like trying people out. There's a couple people that we really are like kind of high up in the running, I guess, for the position or whatever. But yeah, I think soon we're going to be a full like kind of 4-piece rock outfit, as it were.
You guys are in California?
Yeah.
What part of
We
California?
live in San Pedro.
So it's like Long Beach, like near LA, so Southern California.
So it's probably you probably got a good scene out there, and then like some of these kids we talked to are in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. You know what I mean? But
For some reason, I don't know why we attract people from Ohio. And I'm like, dude, you're like literally like 20 minutes away from my house.
yeah, we've talked to like 7 people, and they all just happen to be from Ohio. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it was not planned at all. It was just like I was talking to these guys like in Michigan. Lots of Michigan, lots of Ohio. But then we get London, Spain, the Netherlands, and, Mexico. 2 from Mexico. So
Was it Netherlands? Wasn't that one dude from Norway?
yeah, Norway. Yeah, Norway. Yeah,
That was
sorry.
awesome.
So
Is Norway is that the same thing? Am I stupid?
it's in that general area. No, it's like in Midwest. It's like Ohio, whatever. But no. So yeah. How is your music working in the music scene out there in San Pedro or your area?
I mean, because we've been around for quite a while now, our name just kind of floats around. So we're constantly getting asked to play shows all the time. It comes quite easily for us now, which is pretty cool because we don't have to like really ask to play anymore. Like people will always message us and be like, hey, do you want to play this show? Do you want to, play at this venue or whatever? Like, and it kind of just keeps going, and it's like really cool. Like we just kind of get bigger and bigger opportunities, and it's just because we've been around for a while, and our name just kind of floats around.
Yeah, like we've always done our best to have like a quality live show that flows really good, that's really exciting, has a lot of energy, and like we've always kind of strived to make our albums kind of like a more easily digestible version of that, like kind of we slow things down a little on the album, like we bring the tempo down just a little bit to make it more like, if somebody who likes pop music listens to it, they'll be able to understand without getting overwhelmed or something, and like and we've always handled ourselves really professionally and tried to make the highest quality stuff that we could remain proud of, that like feels like we connect with it. And so I think like early on people kind of had a growing interest in us, and then as the years have gone on we've become like, I don't know, are you guys into wrestling at all?
Yeah, I keep up with it. I don't watch religiously, but I've watched my whole life and mostly keep up with it now through Twitter. So
we're our scene's Undertaker, okay?
The lights go out and you show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, we're the Mark Calloway of the Southern California music scene, which has been around for a while. We always like come up with ideas and do like these interesting ideas, and then we see like 4 or 5 other bands doing the same thing. We're the locker room leaders.
Where did they I have some suspicion.
You just randomly show up at other people's events and
We do. That does happen.
Yeah.
Well,
and then when they recognize us, we're like,
they're like,
whoa.
oh, and they're all like, oh, Cosmic Kitten's here, and I was like, dude, I just want to come watch your band and have a drink. It's weird.
have you ever got conned into playing?
There's a couple of bands that we're friends with that every time we show up at their shows, they'll be like, hey, like, can you play this cover with us or this song or whatever? And I'll be like, like, buy me a shot. They're like, done. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Alcohol, the answer for everything. There you
go. Medicine.
Well, it's cool that you guys. How long has the band been around?
Long enough to be embarrassing.
I think 8 years.
Okay, so I do have to ask, what was the first name of the band, or was it always Cosmic Kitten?
It was always Cosmic Kitten.
So did you ever have a band before this?
I've had several.
Okay,
But
I always love to find out what was your name of your first band.
my first band. Okay. Oh man. Okay. We're going back now. We're taking it back.
Oh, yeah.
When I first started playing music, I played music with my dad and my brother. My brother was kind of like a Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Angus Young-esque guy. He was influenced by them a lot, those guitar players. And my dad was just like a guy that played bass on like the Sunset Strip in the 80s that never made it and was kind of bitter. And so when he had kids and we showed an inkling of interest in music, he was really heavy-handed about it, you know? And so the first band I ever had was with my brother and my dad, and it was just for fun, like to play at like my middle school, like at assemblies or whatever. And we were called Truant, which was the name of my dad's old band that he had with my uncle. Really bad name.
Generational talent. That's pretty wrestling too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. See, there you go.
Yep.
I'm Cody Rhodes, guys. I'm the American Nightmare. No, they yeah, it was a really cringy name. The logo was okay, but it was literally just a carryover from his old band, and we played like some covers like Sin City by AC/DC, and you could play the Peanuts theme song, real good hard rock shit,
Well, did your dad know that you thought it was lame, the name? You didn't tell him that, did you?
No, well, because at the time I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I was just happy to be playing music with them because my dad was already playing music, and my brother played bass in the jazz band in his middle school, and then he moved on to guitar, and they had this little thing with each other, and I felt left out, and because I was the youngest sibling, and I was like, well, I landed on drums because I was like, oh, my mom really likes cats, and my dad really likes the band Kiss, so I can be the cat man. I could play the drums. I'll make both of them happy. And that's how it happened. That's how it happened, and here we are, however many years later.
Bro, the first instrument I ever tried to play was the harmonica because I was jealous that my older brother, what was he playing? Like something stupid like the saxophone, I'm pretty sure. And then I learned how to play. I learned and forgot how to play the violin. I used to be pretty good at it too. I remember being pretty decent at it, but I couldn't tell you now. It did make like guitar a bit easier a couple years later when I picked that up. But
yeah, that's exactly the same as me. Like when I was a kid, I messed around with violin and tuba and piano and banjo, and now like if you handed that to me, I'd had a brain fart so big that it would smell in the whole room.
See, my kids are always like, Dad, play bass. I'm like, I haven't played bass in forever. I was like, my fingers don't work no more. I was like, these fingers are numb all the time. And my youngest son, he's got his drum kit's like hidden back there. I got him a little electric drum kit at Christmas time, and he plays it, but he still wants a real drum kit, as he says. I'm like, dude, that's a real drum kit. No, it's not. I want a blue real one. I'm like, all right, bud, maybe next year for Christmas. All right.
he tried to get away with it, dude. He was like, maybe we can get him this, and he'll dig it. And we won't have to like.
Yeah, I can turn that off, so he can play at night and don't wake nobody up.
Plug in the headphone.
Oh yeah, and the worst part about it is the kid memorizes everything he hears. Autism. I always joke around. I'm like, I told him, I was like, it's his like superpower. It's like your autism power activate. Play drums. And he's like, he can memorize it all. He'll be sitting there one day and he's like, he'll play Metallica, he'll play Rush, he'll play Survivor, and he'll what? And he like 2 weeks after picking up the drums, he could play. And I'm like, just from watching YouTube videos and the videos. I'm like, wow, bud. Okay, Daddy can't do that.
My youngest brother has autism, and he was 13 when I was born. So by the time he was like, I had moved out kind of, oh yeah. I had moved out like kind of around the time, so I didn't get to influence him directly, but I kept telling my mother to like get him something, some kind of musical instrument, and she never did. But now he knows like everything about every logo on the planet for some reason. Like that was the thing. He focused it.
Oh yeah, autism's
That's
great.
epic.
But so it's like I said, I love hearing the early stories of bands getting together and the always the bad band names. But your
Yeah.
dad was an 80 was he an 80s hairband guy?
I think True is pretty dope, dude.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely 80s, man. It's like 80s cool.
Super 80s, dude.
It was Jay's first band.
Oh yeah, Jay, what was your first band?
First band, I think it was a fantasy band that I formed at age 6 in some nursery type thing. But I ripped off the name from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, so it was called Purple Filth, and I wrote 0 songs for it.
Hey, you had a good band name.
Yeah.
First actual band I was in was called Silver Mountain Star. It was a southern rock thing.
That is the most southern rock song.
That does sound super southern rock, bro.
Yeah.
It's like Blackberry Smoke.
Blackberry. Yes.
Silver Mountain Star.
It's you always think that is like the coolest name ever when you're, especially if you form a band in high school, you're like, this is the greatest band ever, and then you're like, look back and like, wow, I was an idiot.
That's great because you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mine
Feels
was
good.
I joke, I always tell everybody, I was like, mine was No Fate, because Terminator had just came out, and it's no fate but the fate you make for yourself, and I was like, that's awesome. And then I look back and like, I was an idiot. So how did you guys come about your sound? Like, because it is a very mid to late 90s sound. At least that's what I hear about it. And you guys do not look that old.
I think that's just what we're pretty heavily influenced by. It wasn't on purpose. It just kind of ended up that way. Like, I didn't own any guitar pedals at first. Like, I just had an acoustic guitar, and then I got an electric guitar, and then Zach was like, oh, well, here, I have a Big Muff and a Fat Rat. Like, do something with them. And I was like, okay. And then, that's just how it happened.
Yeah, it just went from there. Yeah. I just remember, to be honest, I think it's totally by accident, because our first album is like a demo album that we've kind of hidden away. We try for people not to find it. But that demo album there's like one song in particular on there called Weather that I think was like a good blueprint for what our sound eventually became. And that song for me, it happened completely naturally. We didn't formulate how we wanted it to sound or anything like that. It was just I heard Karen's guitar part that they wrote, and then she sang it, and then I was like, in my brain, I just heard the drum part finished, and I heard a bass part, and at that point, it was just well, that's going to be the song, I guess, because we weren't really overthinking it at the time. We weren't formulating anything. So, and then that song went on to influence, I guess, the rest of our music in a way,
Yeah, and everything just kind of came together naturally based off of our influences, which were 90s grunge alternative bands, but also punk bands too,
hardcore, 80s hardcore and stuff, 90s hardcore sort of stuff.
So what are you guys listening to now?
Pretty much everything. Like we listen to modern stuff too. Like last night we went to go see this band called Idols play nearby. And they're kind of like a how are they? They're like a
They're technically okay. So the mainstream media is calling them punk, just like punk, but they really, to me, are like an alternative rock band or something. Like they're not really like punk. Um, they even have some songs that sound like kind of like noise rock, to me. But I think that kind of genre labels nowadays are kind of fucked up. I don't really think they work the way they used to.
No, they've fractured and spun off so many times that they're meaningless now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just talked to my wife about this the other day. I was looking up some new music, and it's like you're looking up metal, and it's like stoner, black, death, blah 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 blah, groove, blah, blah. I'm like, you put stoner and groove together. That's not that far apart. You can move this over here. You can have five. You have five.
Well, it gets even crazier than that. Like technical death metal, and then
Oh, I
technical
know.
deathcore, and then
Yeah.
it's all different. I don't know what any of it is. I listen
Metalcore,
to Motorhead. Like,
grindcore.
There's a lot of cores out there,
There's a lot of cores.
including
Yeah,
core.
or you can just be
yeah,
like,
if it's outside of the 1980s and it's got core in it, I don't listen to it, and I haven't heard it. I don't think.
see, we always joke around. Hawk and I are opposites. I'm the old man, and I listen to everything, and Hawk's pretty set on what he listens to, but he's also got the history. He's like the history buff of metal, and I'm the old man that lived through a lot of that. So but that's how we end up where we're at.
Yeah.
So what was the I guess what bands legitimately influenced you? Like were you listening to the whole when you got your music? Were you listening to, or what was your how did you get your vibe, I guess?
I think that would be like I think the weird thing is that it would be like what bands influence us individually, because that's what we brought to the table when we kind of stirred everything into the melting pot and became what we are,
I think I was listening to a lot of like Nirvana and like Joy Division and like Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, X-Ray Specs, like Sex Pistols, like just a mixture of grunge and punk. I think when when I kind of like started Cosmic Kitten, and Zach was listening to what like Foo Fighters.
Yeah, at that time I was listening to like Foo Fighters. I think I was listening to Descendants a lot. I was listening to the Jesus Lizard a bunch. Yeah, because like other influences that we have, like for instance the band Mets or like Idols, for instance, like that sort of stuff kind of came around a little later on when we were a band. But when we first started, I think it was like, for me it was like Foo Fighters and Descendants, Jesus Lizard, some other kind of like
Obscure ones, like
Yeah.
Screaming Trees.
Screaming Trees, yeah.
So, we were talking about the genre basing. Do you have? We've talked to bands not in California, stuff like that, who have problems hitting, like getting venue. Well, you guys said you got venues inviting you.
Yeah, people are asking them to play.
Yeah, asking you guys to play, and because a lot of the bands, they don't know how to categorize them, how to put them on bills, how to market them towards an audience, and you guys don't seem to have that problem at all, because like I said, you're getting asked. But do you ever run into that? Like,
We're like 8 years in.
yeah,
That's probably most of the guys we've spoken to have like relatively recent, minus like a handful.
Yeah, like we still do kind of have that problem, because like for us, a lot of people locally and like in the media like to kind of pigeonhole us as like a punk band. They're just like, oh, they're a punk band. and they'll be like, I want to book them to like play our backyard show and this and that. Be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like we never say no. Like we know where we came from and we're cool with our roots, but like we don't really see ourselves as like a straight up punk band. Like we kind of see ourselves more of like I guess of like a grunge band. I mean, we've gotten yelled at for calling ourselves grunge. We're supposed to call ourselves post grunge, apparently, but we see ourselves more of like a post grunge band or like alternative rock. You know, like a little bit closer to like a more um like produced sound as opposed to like how a punk would be like a little less produced.
DIY, less DIY.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we also like it's easy to like continue to play shows like locally with like all of our, friends, like local bands, but when it comes to trying to get like bigger bills, maybe like opening up for like a touring band, it does get kind of difficult. We kind of have to like pitch ourselves a lot more, and we kind of have to like kind of show them that we have a professional presence and we have proper recordings and we have like a good image and everything for them to actually want us to like open up for this, bigger touring band or something.
Yeah.
Who's the coolest band you've ever gotten to open for?
Coolest band.
Well, personally, like feather in your hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've opened up for a few so far. Like, we opened up for the Dickies recently. That was really fun. We're gonna open up for Red Cross soon. Before that,
We opened up for the Avengers once.
Mike Watt.
We did a show with Alice Bag once. Yeah.
Sponge.
Oh, Sponge, that '90s band. Yeah, we've done like some cool shows, opening up for some cool bands. We were kind of like really just looking forward to that Red Cross show, but all those shows have been really cool. We keep getting invited to open up for like these kind of old school punk bands, but I don't really have any issues with that. One time we got invited to open up for Doyle, but it was like at the Whiskey A Go Go, and that place is all like pay to play and stuff, and we're like, no, that's okay.
Yeah, that's really super common in Ohio is pay to play because
that's wild to me.
Yeah, it's almost the standard in the Midwest. Period. We talked to bands from Michigan. I've talked to some people from Kentucky and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's almost all pay to play, and that's why a lot of I'm not going to throw out any names. It's why a lot of big bands that have come out of Ohio are kind of spoiled rich kids because their parents basically paid to get them on bills to get people to notice them, and then they just grew from there. It's because when you got people just buying your way on the shows, people start seeing you all the time. It can be that double-edged sword. I've legitimately went to shows where there was a guy rapping over his own CD, and you're just like, what? And they're like, I went up and talked to my buddy who was security there, and I was like, how the hell did this guy? And he goes, dude, he buys his own tickets because you have to sell X amount of tickets to play. He buys them.
Yeah.
He pays for them just so he can get up on stage, and you're just like, no,
yeah,
I don't care how many tickets the dude buys. I still no. I've helped book shows. I was like, no.
Yeah, like we played the show once at this place called Stages. At the time, it was called Malone's, and we didn't know anything of what was going on with the show. We just got invited by this one person that I guess was a fan of ours, and she was like, "Come play." We didn't know anything about the show, and we get out there, and every single band on the lineup wasn't a band. And we met her, and I was like, are you really a fan of ours? Because I've never met you before, like, ever. I was like, I suppose it's possible, but, like, also, what the fuck? I don't know who you are. And she was, like, I guess, just like she had a rich rich parents and lived in Orange County, and like it was like her and all of her friends were coming with their laptops with their like Pro Tools, like their beats and stuff, and like hooking it up to the PA. And then like one guy had a guitar and was singing, but his guitar was plugged into his laptop, going through like his Pro Tools. And every single artist was like that except us. And I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And we went up there and we're like, and then they're all like, "Oh, like they didn't know what to do." And I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah, what's a crowd for a show like that look like?
It was just like a bunch of kind of like teeny bopper looking people, like kind of dancing. Like they didn't really know how to dance to our music. They just kind of were like, doing like kind of like the Burning Man dance in front of in front of the stage. And then and yeah, I mean the pay to play thing is really sketchy. Like one time in one of my old bands, I did a show at the Whiskey a Go Go because I wanted to do an album release show. And I've known that that place is pay to play forever because I've been playing at those venues since I was young. But like, I was like, I'm going to invest the money to do it this time because I want to have an album release show in a good venue with good sound, and maybe I can make it into a big deal or whatever. And it worked, and our friends came. But the sketchy thing is that we were on stage like doing a line check right before our set, and the security guard got my attention, was like, "Hey, you guys can't play yet. Like, you can't play until you pay the box office for the tickets or whatever." That like, so basically, like, we had to make good on the contract before we could play our first note, and they were willing to like ruin the moment, make it embarrassing, like destroy the night, just so they could get like their $300 or whatever before we were about to play. And it's like, can't we just play and I can give it to you after? Like, I'm not a piece of shit. I just want to play some music.
Well, we had one guy that was super shady about that around here locally, and he would legit, if you went to go see a band that you want to go see the headliner that started playing at 9 o'clock, he'd have people on stage at like 1. You'd have 9 bands.
Yeah.
Where you'd see that band, and you're just like, I've seen so many free shows because people are like, "Oh, I got tickets. You want any?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll come see you, for free, I guess." Because, but it's bad. We usually ask if you have any tour horror stories, but that is a horror story right there. So
yeah, it's kind of dumb because a lot of these promoters will like put 5 openers and then have a headliner that entices them to come open, and then then they put together a budget based on how much money they're able to like milk out of the bands. So it'll be like, "Oh, there's 5 bands. I'm gonna tell them all to sell 20 tickets at $20 a piece or something like that, or at $10 a piece or $20 a piece." And then with that money, I'll have X amount of money from those 5 bands, and I could pay a headliner, and I can pocket some money. Like they kind of do the math like that, which is kind of BS because back in the day, a promoter or a quote unquote talent buyer. So like now they have a new term called talent buyer, which is separating like promoters that actually do their job from the term promoter, which has become a dirty word. So now talent buyer is like the people that aren't messed up. And back in the day, you'd have a talent buyer, and then they would communicate with the club owner and be like, "Hey, what's our entertainment budget?" The club owner would give them a budget for entertainment. They would do their research and make sure they book the bands that are going to bring the money and make it make sense. Nowadays, promoters, like especially pay to play, they don't do that. They're just like, "Hey, we don't have a budget from the club for entertainment at all. We're going to make our own budget by pickpocketing bands, and then we're gonna use that money to hire a good headliner so that more bands want to work with us. We can pickpocket more bands, and we can get a good draw because we booked a good headliner. We can insure it." Like, all right, well.
So you guys say mainly local, or have you traveled? How far from home base have you guys gone?
We've done a couple tours already. We mainly do like West Coast tours. we've done one US tour, and then this last year we actually went to the UK. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was hard to get the prices of our merch right. Like we thought we had like decent prices, and then like as the tour went on, the people would be like, "Oh, I want to buy your merch, but that's kind of like high or whatever." I was like, "I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how your money works over here."
What's the euros to dollars? No.
It's
Yeah.
just the three of you that manage everything. You don't have a. It's just you guys.
When we were in the UK, we had a tour manager that was driving us around and doing all the business with the venues. But when we tour and on the West Coast or just anywhere else in the US, we're the ones who manage ourselves. We drive ourselves.
We book the shows.
We book the shows. We take care of all the business.
Yeah.
Are you your own merch people? You're the back at the table selling your T-shirts and your CDs and all that fun.
Well, we try to bring people.
Yeah, well, sometimes we get somebody to help us. Yeah.
The how well did it go over in the UK?
It was all right. Like we had a couple shows that were pretty good and we had a good turnout, but there were other ones where we were just like, yeah, nobody knows who the fuck we are.
Yeah.
Probably drove like 6 hours to come see us one of those shows.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
that's
There
true.
was just one guy that drove like 6 hours to come see us when we were in the UK because I guess he was a fan, but he lived in like a rural area, and then he drove like 6 hours into the city because he's like, we were only playing like a handful of dates, so he looked at the thing and was like, "Oh man, like this is the closest show, like I'm gonna go," and he like. I think didn't he say that he traveled like he took like 2 trains or something?
Yeah,
like
it was something
a bus.
crazy like that. Just to
Yeah.
come see us play. He apparently had been a fan of ours for like a couple years or like 3-4 years.
Mhm.
And he's been dying to see us play. So it meant a lot that he came to that show. But we always have like cool fans like that kind of like surprise us where
Pop out of nowhere.
they pop out of nowhere. Like sometimes we're like down in the gutter and we're just like nobody likes us, like we're a shitty band or something. And then like
shooting.
and then the next thing the next thing we know, like somebody traveled 6 hours like just to come see us.
That's impressive. I'm lazy because it's like 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. I'll drive.
You're real lazy. I
am lazy.
haven't seen a show in years. I'm lazy.
Literally, I just saw one the 27th of last month, and that was only a little over an hour away. But before that, I drove 3 hours and got. Oh shit! I didn't tell you that. I got banned for IHOP in Woodburn. Was it Woodburn, Michigan? So
How'd you manage that?
You got banned from an IHOP?
yeah,
Like
banned from
like a
IHOP.
week ago?
When I went and seen Health up in Detroit.
You're like 52, bro.
Yeah,
How did you get banned from an IHOP?
that was a fun thing. We get all the way up there.
It's not 52.
I'm 50. I'll be 50 in June. I'll be 50 in a little over a month. I go up there. We're going to go up see Health. We get there. Doors open at 7. We're outside 20 minutes away at like 5:40. Or about 5:45. So we're like, okay, we got plenty of time to eat and then drive into town, go to the show. So we get there and it's taking forever. It's taking forever. And I look at my kids and I'm like, hey guys, I was like, if they're not back, I'm gonna use the restroom. If our food ain't ready, we're bouncing. Because at this point it's been like a half hour. It's like almost a quarter after 6. I was like, because that gives us 15 minutes to eat, haul ass into Detroit. And so he's like, okay. So I go to the restroom, come back out. They're bringing our food. We get there and I'm like, okay, where's my pancakes? And they're like, oh, well, you said you want a toast. I was like, yeah, I want a toast and pancakes. I'm going to eat my eggs, whatever. And so she's like, I was like, well, whatever. I don't have time. Just bring me the toast and whatever. So I'm eating the little bit of really overcooked bacon. My kids, they get their food, which they got, I think, eggs Benedict, and everything's cold. Everything's cold. they bring me my toast. It's dry white toast, no butter. My eggs were overcooked and everything else like that. And I looked at the little girl and I was like, hey, she's like, can I help you? I was like, hey, I don't want to be that guy, but can I talk to the manager? And she's like, yeah. She understood because my kids said that when I went to the restroom that they could hear her go like, hey, these guys want their food. Can you can you hurry it up? And so this manager guy comes over and he's, oh, what's the problem? I was like, dude, none of this food's good. He goes, well, I can cook. I was like, dude, you don't understand. We got to leave like now. I was like, we were on a time crunch. This took forever. You know, the food's overcooked. It's cold, whatever. And then he's like, starts picking. He's like, well, I think you guys should pay half. I'm like, dude, I don't even have all my food yet. I was like, I'm not paying half. I was like, I'll pay for the drinks. My kids are picking at their food because they're hungry, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, my kids are not kids. I mean, they're 27 and 24. So we're going back and forth with this, and the guy keeps going, and he's like, well, he's eating some of his food. I'm like, he moved it around, and I'm like volunteering to pay for my drinks and the bacon I ate. I was like, it's like $10, right? No, and I'm like, and when he started doing that, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not paying for anything now. And he's like, well, I don't know what we're going to do about this. It's like, dude, I don't know what you're going to do about this, but I ain't paying for this. This is garbage. And I'm being cool. I'm trying to be civil. And then he looks at me and goes, well, I guess I'm going to comp this, but I'm going to ask you never step foot in this IHOP again. I'm like, dude, that's not a fucking problem. This place fucking sucks. And we got up, we walked out. We got to the show just in time. We walked in the door. The door had open. We got there, and then we were so mad that none of us were hungry until like our way home because we're like I said, we're almost 3 hours away from Detroit. So literally, we're coming back. It's like 1:30. I'm like, now I'm hungry. So I ate like a power bar and an energy drink and drove home. But yeah, that's how I got banned from IHOP in Michigan. Although
I don't know how it is in Michigan, but in California, if you have forced service or you don't like a food, it's actually completely legal to just get up and walk out without paying.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
This is crazy. I didn't know that.
That's insane because we have to complain to the manager in Ohio and Michigan.
I mean, you could just get up. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
you probably won't get to go back there. Yeah.
Well, the funny part about it is me and my kids. We said we're going to go get some wheelchairs, throw them in the back of the car because he said never step foot. We're going to roll in wheelchairs. Like, fuck you, dude.
That's kind of hilarious.
Well, the guy even looked at us because why didn't you come get me before this? I'm like, dude, I don't know who the fuck you are. I was like, you're wearing a black IHOP shirt with shit all over it. It's dirty. It looks like you're washing dishes in the back. I was like, I don't know you're the manager. And I was like, dude, you guys, this place sucks. And it's funny because during the eclipse, we had people from that area come to my store.
Yeah.
Because I sell video games and comic books and stuff like that. And they look
That's cool. Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah. No, like telling them, like, oh, yeah, that IHOP sucks. And I'm like, the fact that somebody I've never met knew exactly what IHOP it was and told me, like, oh, yeah, that one sucks, dude. You're not. So.
That's sad, dude.
Yeah. But I ended up going to health, and it was a great show. So, whatever.
Yeah.
But you were talking about the bands that were playing through their laptops and stuff. A couple weeks ago, I went and seen the band Nightclub. Nightclub has a band opened up, which was Rose Garden Funeral, I think is what it was called. They're a real band. 2-piece drummer, guitar player, got bass pickups and a guitar. They play. Then immediately, as soon as they're done playing, they had a DJ over there mixing and playing on his laptop. And he played while they set up everything. And then as soon, boom, done. There was no setup, no nothing. That next guy was, soon as he stopped, Nightclub started. It was nothing, because it was
no time to like breathe and be like, just so you guys know, we're gonna have a DJ. So if you don't want to be here, leave.
Yeah, everybody ran out, smoked, and went and bought merch and that was a fun trip. We took my one buddy who'd never been to a real concert in his life to a show where he was front row,
That's
and
cool.
he's like, "This is intense." I'm like, "This is mellow, man. I don't."
Get him to a Slayer concert.
Oh yeah,
Let's go see Warbringer.
yeah. I was like, dude, I've been front row in almost every concert I've ever been to, and I've gone to everything from synthwave to classic rock to
Hmm.
death metal to black metal,
Mhm.
and I'm always front row, or I try to be as close as I can. And
Yeah.
he's freaking out. Although I'm not gonna lie, this is my most non-shining moment. I was
Mhm.
not ready. I'm literally like a foot away from the lead singer,
Mhm.
and she's singing. All of a sudden, she jerks the mic to the side. She lunges forward, and she goes like this in my face, and I'm not ready for this. So I'm like, my wife's standing like a foot away from me, just starts laughing her ass off. So I'm like, oh, duh, fucking. I'm like, I shook it off. I'm like, all right, I gotta be cool, you know. And next song, she does it again. What I do. So I reached out to her on Instagram. I'm like, I was not ready for that. And she's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. I just get ha, ha, ha. So,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, now my wife and my buddy give me shit about it. They're like, you fucking dorked out. I'm like, fucking shut up.
Oh, bro, we have the same chair.
That one? Yeah, we do. Holy shit.
Nice.
So you guys put out an album last year. What are you guys working on now?
We have some new music we're working on, but we're kind of just taking our time with it. Like we play a couple songs live, but we're not really sure like if we want to record an EP or if we just want to hold off until we write a couple, a few more songs and see if we could, make a whole record again. But we're taking our time.
Yeah, like trying to see where we want to record it with and who we want to do it with. And we had like a couple opportunities to do something pretty cool with these songs, but we're kind of waiting to see if that can come to fruition, things like that. So
are you because I know a lot of bands that we've just talked with are releasing like a song, and then when they have it all, they have a full album at the end, but they keep people interested by releasing like a single a month or every 2 months they drop a new song just to keep the interest in there. Are you doing anything like that, or
well,
Um,
that could be a fun thing to do, and we've talked about doing that.
I think with people's attention span, that's probably the right way to go.
Yeah.
And I could see how that's pretty beneficial. I mean, with this most recent album that we released last year, we had, I think, like 4 singles, and we were releasing one like every month or so.
Yeah.
And we saw kind of like, just like natural growth and interest in our band in that like short period of time that we were kind of, what would you call it? It was like I don't know, just like that whole plan that we had.
So, what would you call it? Like a campaign?
Yeah, a campaign or whatever is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. I think that's how we would do it in the future, in the scheme of things, we still record the albums like all at one time. Like we record and finish it, and we spend time getting the music videos together and stuff, and then we plan out when we want to do releases and stuff. You have to like load. You got to put the bullets in the chamber first before you start firing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of local bands, like they record material and then they just want to release it like right away.
Get all excited.
They get all excited,
Throw it
but
out
I
there.
think over time we've kind of learned that that's not smart at all. You kind of have to plan like a year in advance, record all your material and then plan your releases, and music videos and try to pitch it to places, see if anybody wants to review your album or your single or whatever. Like it's the whole thing. It takes a lot of planning.
Blah blah blah. Business. Tie. Suit.
It's the record business, the music business, not
right.
be just playing. So this is usually Hawk's question. 5-year plan.
5-year plan.
5-year plan.
I usually
Well-
ask that to kids who seem aimless.
Yeah.
In an attempt to help them sort something together. But you guys seem to have your
5-year
shit
plan?
together.
You
So.
seem, yeah, you guys got your shit together amazing.
What I really want, well, what I personally want for our band the next 5 years would be just to have like a regular touring schedule. Like instead of touring once a year, like maybe we could do 2 tours a year or 3, smaller tours a year, opening for, a band with a bigger draw and like having exponential growth that way. That's kind of like what I'm looking towards in the next 5 years. I think it'd be a reasonable goal to be able to quit my day job in 5 years. Just gonna, I'm gonna fucking say that right now and I'm gonna make it happen with my
You're gonna,
telekinesis
you're gonna
powers.
manifest it.
You're gonna manifest
Yeah,
it.
no, I feel that.
So, what is your day? What's your day job, if I can ask?
I'm a bus driver.
That's metal.
Yeah, it is pretty metal, dude.
I'm a caregiver.
Yeah.
MJ, what are you, Jay?
What are you?
I don't know. I mean, I've done a lot of things. Like I worked in kitchens before. I worked in construction sales. Wouldn't recommend that to my worst enemy. Currently, I do like rideshare stuff, a little bit of music teaching, a little bit of recording engineering, and yeah, just a lot of different stuff.
Jay wears many hats.
There you go. Sometimes that's what you gotta do as, basically doing your own business. I always get those people it's like, well, it must be nice. Fuck you. Dude, I bust my ass every day. I dump shit tons of money into this stuff to make sure
They
that I
do
get
think,
my
yeah, they do think like the boss would fuck off. I've told him I'm jealous because he is the boss. I'll work my ass off if I get to be the boss of me.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
100%.
Technically, I am right now, but
Yep.
I won't be. So.
Yeah, hopefully. So, you're a caregiver. For what kind of caregiver are you?
I look after my friend's elderly aunt.
Okay. Okay.
I've been doing that for
My
about
wife used to do that.
3 years.
My son Brandon is a caregiver, and my wife was worked at a assisted living facility, so I know how that is. So, yeah.
All right, where can everybody find you? Where would you like to direct?
Yeah, where can people find you on the internet at?
We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, on our website too, CosmicKittenBand.com.
Instagram at cosmic_kitten official. You can find us there. We have X or whatever the hell that is.
Formerly the platform formerly known as Twitter.
Indeed.
It's
There, I think
everybody says.
we're at Cosmic Kitten 1 or something like that. And yeah, we're kind of all over the place. You can find us anywhere. I mean, if you Google Cosmic Kitten, it comes up. If you put Cosmic Kitten into YouTube, it comes up. We're easy to find. You just have to want to find us.
Do you have any upcoming tour dates?
We are planning a tour for this upcoming September. It's mainly going to be West Coast because that's the easiest for us to book. I think the furthest out we're going, like, I guess closer to the Midwest, which isn't even the Midwest, is probably like Colorado.
Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys seem to really, unlike a lot of people we've interviewed, sometimes you got your shit together. You've got plans, you've got goals, you've got, you've been around for 8 years, and you're developing. It seems like you're always growing. You know what your plans are. to get away from the day job and stuff like that, which is like everybody's goal, I guess. So you guys are out there kicking ass and keep doing it. And let's see. Oh yes. Can I use one of your songs as the outro for this episode?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
Pick a good one though.
Pick a good one.
What's
Which
your
one do we?
favorite?
What's your favorite?
Probably something off the Mew album.
I don't know. What are your guys' listeners like? You guys listeners like punky shit, metal shit?
They're all over the place.
Yeah,
That's
they're all
kind of
over.
what Paul brings to the table. Paul brings a whole bunch of. I'm a dad rock guy.
Yeah.
You like
So, but-
Nickel?
yeah,
Get that
exactly.
Nickelback cover. That's what we want to hear. Yes. Let's hear you guys play Rockstar. Come on.
You'd be surprised. Like every time I've made a couple videos about Nickelback because they were like buddies with Pantera, and
Oh yeah,
a lot of Nickelback defenders, bro. They're out there.
They have this horrible song that's like a little too on the nose called "Side of the Bullet."
It's-
Side
yeah.
of the Bullet.
I did a video about that song, and it's cheese,
It has
bro.
Dimebag
It's
solo
lyrically,
on it.
it's not too bad musically, but the lyrics are so on the nose. I'm pretty sure I said that exactly in that video. It's been a few months.
Yeah. Well,
Wham's
I,
solo was on that song. Like
Yeah,
his last solo ever published.
as me and my wife were talking, we were driving up to Michigan the other day. I go, I can't fault Nickelback in any way, shape, or form. I think that they can't even figure out how they became famous because I believe they're a garage rock bar band that
they
somehow made
made
it
catchy
huge.
songs that lots of people liked. Like,
Yeah, they figured it out, and I got.
what's crazier is how they became the shit band that everybody made fun of. It's all it's like internet meme shit.
Yeah, it's the
It's
same thing with
pretty-
Limp
It's a
Bizkit.
pretty intense achievement. You know, like people call us like post-grunge punk band, alternative rock. It's a pretty good achievement to have both of your genre types be considered like dad rock and butt rock.
At the
That's
same
like-
time.
Yeah,
Pretty fucking
that's-
epic.
Yeah, you're right. Like I've done probably 1,000 videos on Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. People start calling Foo Fighters dad rock. I was like, oh shit, dude, I want to stop aging like right now.
It's getting there, bro. That
Oh, it
first
is.
album is
I'm old, so the music I grew up on and stuff like that, everybody's like, "Oh, that's classic rock." And what? What
Yeah,
the fuck
yeah,
does
right.
Slayer become classic
People
rock?
started saying the same thing about Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
Somebody told me Slipknot was
dude, like
dad rock.
Slipknot, and like Trivium. Those guys are. I mean, Matt's
Oh, yeah.
like the same age as me, but they've been around since he was 16. So
Yep.
it's
How about Eloy though? God damn. The guy's like a fucking machine.
But yeah, I like I said, the getting old is weird because it's everybody looks at their music and they're like, "Oh yes, dad rock." I'm like, "When was the last time you were in a pit?" Because I'm sure you wouldn't make it. I'm sure. I've been in a pit
Yeah.
for Slayer 5 times. Damn it, no.
Yeah.
But
I've seen some 3 times.
I that was like I took my son to see their farewell tour now.
Yeah.
And as I
Yeah,
joke
they're
around, I got to
technically
see
gone.
Ozzy on his farewell tour in 1992 too. So
Yeah.
But you guys have been great. You've been a fun interview. Anytime you want to hop on or you got something you want to drop, let me know. We'll do something else. We'll get you on. If everything goes right, this will drop Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 5 o'clock your time. So
Okay.
I'll probably work on this maybe tomorrow night, depending on how awake I am when I get done doing all the other shows I do. Because I'm a machine and he's a machine, and we are all over the internet for obviously different reasons, though.
yeah. My stuff's mostly scripted and edited. So
Mine is I do 2 shows like this, and then I bring you a sci-fi and a cartoon show. So if you like Saturday morning cartoons, as Cat,
Our cat tugged on the charging cable.
Oh,
Perfect.
That was not
Perfect.
perfect.
You should just cut it there.
We should
as if,
cut it
like,
right
the
there.
cat just not,
Done.
that's
Yeah,
where it
that's
goes.
the end of the
Separate.
episode. Hold on.
Caught red-handed.
Yeah, amazing.
Boys. All right, I got to bail. You
All right,
guys are
man.
great.
Later.
Thanks for sitting down with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to you later there, Hawk.
Later, boys.
Later.
Later.
Bye.
All right, hold on 1 second. There we go. So yet again, thank you guys so very much. You guys have been a blast. Like I said, you guys are amazing because the fact that you got your shit together is way better than half the bands we've interviewed.
That's right, baby. Call us Pepto Bismol because we have our shit together.
Because it's funny that because we do the 5-year plan, and most people are like, I don't want to be working my day job. That's like the best answer for everybody. I don't want to work my day job. I'm like,
But they don't have a plan.
they have
to
no
get
plan
there.
on how to get away from it. Literally, my wife came up with my day job. I was selling video games and comic books on the internet, and then one day she's like, "You got all this crap in the house and needed to get it out." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay." She goes, "You're going to open a store again." I was like, "I didn't want to open another store again." And then I opened it. It started doing money, and I was working, and I kept working. And she's like, "You can quit." And I was like, "No, no, no. I should probably keep working. I should keep working. Make sure I have that extra money coming in." And then the plant closed, and I've been doing this for a decade now, and it's all me. Just I'm the boss. So
That's cool.
I've always fantasized about opening a record store, although it's kind of like failing, like a losing business model because it costs like thousands and thousands of dollars to get started, and then you have to like be able to make profit right away, or you're kind of fucked.
well, as I've told people, I've had guys ask me like, "Oh, what?" Well, I was like, "Do not get a loan. If you cannot open up a store without putting yourself in debt to open up the store, don't do it. Because you're going to be further in debt when you lose your ass."
Oh
Because,
yeah.
And me, I had everything just sitting in boxes in my house because I was already selling on the internet. And so I went in, opened it up, and slowly built. Like I have a vinyl department. I have this little area where I sell records, and I've only got maybe 100 records in there now, but sporadically I get ones, and you can also, I hate to do this, but all those records, 90% of them, I either get them at shows or I buy them on Amazon. And, why would you go to a record store? Because my buddy goes to a record store, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, that record you just bought for $25, I bought for $15.
Yeah.
And I get that, it's going to be markup because believe me, I do this, but my business, I see what stuff sells for online. Say that I have $100 video game. I figure out what I'm going to make off of it. So if you come in my store, it's 75.
Yeah.
I know I'm losing 25% by putting it on the internet, and now I don't worry about it. So that's just in my money that I figure up. So
yeah, like out here, the ideas that I've had in regards to it, and the way I've seen some people do, like some of my friends, like if you go on Craigslist, sometimes locally here, like in California and LA, you can find people just selling like lots of records, like boxes of throwaway records. And they're like, I don't want to sift through this shit. I don't really give a fuck. Like, give me $250 and take these boxes. And then you can take the boxes and sift through them yourself and price them out individually, listen to them, grade them. And then you can use like Discogs, which is like a website where they help you with averages. And then like you could open up theoretically an online store that way. That's something I've always wanted to do. And then if the online store became successful, then open up a storefront.
That's when exactly, 100%. And it's funny because that Discogs is a little weird. I sold a record to this one dude, and he was like making a big deal about it because he popped up on Facebook. He's like, "I got this record. It's like $1,600. I paid $8 for it." And I'm like, "Dude, you did not get the $1,600 one. Believe me, I would have not have parted with it for." I looked it up. It's $8. I was like, "You're not gonna get that good of a deal from me." I was like, I think it was $10, so you got a deal at $8. No. But follow your dreams, guys. Just go for it. As the old man and I tell my kids the same thing. You know, my kids wanted a guitar, so I bought him a guitar. My kids wanted a drum, I bought him drums. Because I try to be the best dad I can be. Support.
Yeah.
It's all about support. So you guys, I'm going to head out, but you guys have a great night and take care. And thanks again for dealing with the storm issues from last week. So
That's
but
Yeah, thanks for having us.
yep. So, all right. Well, I will drop you guys a line when this is up to make sure it does drop this Thursday. Because I don't have a show to drop this Thursday, so I'm going to bust my ass to get this up for Thursday. So, you will have it then. So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you go. You guys have a good night and take care.
all right. Take care.
Bye.
Laid back, but I'm on track. Do you know it's got to give? In a land divine of rituals and the sunshine bright, I'd kill for it. You're narrow as a tunnel, but you're flirting with my thoughts. And for that I can respect. Push my button, I'm long gone. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'll stare and I'll weep and I'll stare and I'll beat. Inspire, yeah, good. Look no further, I'll soon be the one I'll fight. You're higher and brighter. Think I'm criminally insane. I'm empty and it's a shame with your voice in the